Hey bees! I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are going to take a look at how to clean up some of the messes that we make when we make cosmetics. When we're making makeup, we have two different main categories of messes. There's coffee grinder messes, and there's creamy, oil-based, high pigment concentration messes. So our coffee grinder messes are pretty easy to clean up, but you do have to keep your coffee grinder relatively dry. It's really tempting to use that blender trick where you just add water and a bit of detergent and give it a good zzz. But coffee grinders really aren't designed to have water in them. So I have definitely destroyed at least one coffee grinder by doing this. Eventually the water makes its way out of the grinding dish and down into the motor because that grinding dish is generally not sealed to keep water in there, and so it goes down and then it destroys the motor, and that is a big bummer. So we'll take a look at how to keep your coffee grinder clean for multiple uses without getting it wet. So messes like lipstick and creamy eyeliner are definitely the ones that have the biggest potential to be a giant pain in the posterior to clean up. If you have ever had to get lipstick off of a mirror or off of really anything other than maybe your face, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The combination of the wax and the high pigment concentration means that those messes, they mean business. So we'll be using paper towel to really take those messes down to next to nothing so that we can clean them out. Something to be really aware of when you are making these kinds of messes and trying to clean them up is you do not want to pour a molten lipstick or a molten eyeliner or anything down your drain, even if you have a garburator. It's quite tempting because it's liquid and liquids go down the drain, but it's not going to stay liquid, and you really don't want to have a solid clog of lipstick somewhere deep down in the plumbing of your home. That is no bueno. So we will take a look at how to clean up all those greasy, colorful messes without destroying your plumbing and without going insane. Okay, let's get started. So these creamy oil-based messes are definitely the most annoying ones to clean up, with the most potential to turn this mess into 10 times as much mess. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have as little of your final concoction in here as possible. So, I mean, we can pretend that this is our lipstick container or our eyeliner container. So you want to scrape out as much of that as possible and put it in the container where you actually get to use it. So that's where, these fantastic spatulas come in really handy. You can really see that I'm able to scrape out a lot and actually get this dish quite clean. If you have let the dish cool down since you transferred your final concoction out of it and into your container, just pop it back in a water bath to heat it up. That'll make it so much easier to clean. So when this sets up, it's pretty easy to scrape the solid excess into the garbage can, but we want to get these dishes clean, and then you basically repeat what we're doing with these with that dish. So at this point in time, paper towel is your best friend. I know it seems kind of wasteful, but so is running a ton of water down your sink trying to get these clean just by washing them. So we're going to wipe off as much excess as possible and actually get them to the point where they pretty much look clean. You can see this one had oxides and this one had micas. So because micas are less pigmented, they do clean up a bit easier. So you can see that this does have a bit of a tint to it, and it's definitely still a little bit greasy, but at that point in time, you can scrub that out with a bit of dishwashing detergent and a sponge really easily, and it'll come completely clean. And then you can do the same for your spatulas. Just wipe those down, get them to the point where you can wash them by hand easily. All right, so that's about all you have to do to get these guys clean. I really don't recommend going any route other than the paper towel route. I have spent so many hours using boiling water to try and get these clean, and you always end up burning yourself a little bit and using a ton of boiling water, and it takes absolutely ages, and it's just not that great of a time, whereas this method is super, super fast, and yes, you will use some paper towel, but you will also save a ton of time. Cleaning out your coffee grinder after you've made some powdered cosmetics in it is really easy. So once you've got to the point where you've scraped as much of your powder out of there as possible, we're going to take some rice, and this is a rice that I bought that I thought would be excellent, and it turns out that it's very, very gluey, and I wasn't going to eat it, so perfect for cleaning out my coffee grinder. So we're going to put a little bit in there, and thank you to Ashlyn for teaching me this trick, because this is fantastic. I'm going to give that a buzz. When you can't hear the rice rattling around in there anymore and you can see that it's quite a fine powder in there, you're done blending, so I'm just going to leave that for a couple minutes to settle. Once you've given the dust some time to settle, you can pull the lid off. And usually I'll let the dust settle while I'm washing other things or doing other things for cleanup. So there you can see the rice has picked up a lot of the leftover pigment, which is exactly what we wanted to have happen. Give that a little scrape around here. And now we're ready to throw this away. So usually I would just dump this in the trash or down my carburetor, but I don't have my carburetor right here. So, and then you'll see this brush and you'll be thinking, goodness Marie, that is a disgusting looking brush. And this makeup brush's only purpose is dusting out my DIY coffee grinders. So it's basically a sponge that looks like a brush. So we'll use that to get in there and pick up and dust out any excess powder. So that is pretty darn clean. If you find that there's still a little bit in there, you can wipe around with a slightly damp paper towel. And that's about that. I did have a reader tell me that she cleans her coffee grinder this way and then she uses the leftover rice powder to wash her face with. If you make as many cosmetics as I do, I think that you'd very quickly make 3 lifetimes worth of facial cleansing rice powder. So I end up throwing most of this away or composting it. But there you go, that's the easiest way to clean your coffee grinder. And of course, because we use the cling film trick on the lid, once you take that out, there might have been a leak, but for the most part, your lid is pretty clean. And this, of course, because it doesn't have any electronics like the grinder part does, you can just wash this by hand with some detergent and a sponge. And those are my cleanup tips. If you have any that you'd like to share, I'd absolutely love to hear about them in the comments below. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'd love it if you like this video and check me out on some of my other social networks. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.